Hello and welcome back, everyone. We are live here at Adobe Live from the sofa. I'm based in London, and also special thanks to Rufus to make it possible to have Adobe Live now in the UK, even though it's from the sofa, but it's Adobe Live. So welcome, Rufus. How are you today?
Hi, everyone. I'm great. Thank you.
And we have the super talented Tina here. The last time I saw Tina was in January, and I was actually lifting her, but now we can't do that anymore. How are you, Tina?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good, thanks. So if you guys out there have any questions for Tina, pop them in the chat. Rufus and I will read them out loud. And yeah, enjoy the show. So what have you prepared, Tina? What are you doing these days?
Okay, so even we are in this kind of weird situation at the moment, I keep myself quite busy. And there are always ways, even working in the weekend still, that's good. So yeah, I decided to start a little project and kind of like bring a bit of more happiness and a bit of a better mood in all this kind of situation going on. So I started designing some stickers for Instagram, which they're going to be live perhaps tomorrow or perhaps later on today. So you can also use them. And I wanted to share with you how I created one of them. So starting from like scrap to actually create the whole sticker and animating and so on. So should I share firstly the collection of the stickers or not?
No, share. Let's start with you. Like what you worked on. What
okay.
Your website, tinatouli.com.
Okay, yeah. So a bit about me then. So I'm Tina. I'm a graphic communication designer and creative director based in London. And yeah, I'm working quite a variety of stuff. You can see a bit here on my screen, like a bit of my work from like motion graphics, typography, branding, packaging design, video, 3D, 2D, all kind of like stuff. So I love it every time to do something different. So kind of challenge myself to learn new skills and try something new. So most likely you can just see my website for my work. So that is there. So I think it would be better. I collected few of the latest projects that I'm currently working on or just finished that I think it would be better to share rather than something that's already there for you. So I added quickly those ones here. So just to get an idea. So that is a banner created for an online blog. So shop fonts, 3D created. Or another one that you most likely saw on my Instagram if you're following me there. That is the T letter created for the 36 Days of Type. Lovely project, especially for nowadays, to spend some time there. And yeah, so that was actually created. Here you can see the behind the scenes, so a little ribbon playing around, and then Photoshop, editing, adding a bit of color and some extra shapes. And yeah, here we go.
This is what I really like about Tina's work is that it all starts very manually at the beginning. And I remember, Tina, when were you on Adobe Live? Like at the very beginning when we were still doing it from Paris, maybe
Yes.
4 or 5 years ago? I don't
Something
know.
like that. I think so. Yeah.
No, it was actually Illustrator's 30th birthday, and I think
Yes.
you have the image there. Yeah, and basically, when you look at that poster, you can see that it's loading. Yeah, there we go. So basically, Tina was spending, so like the whole first day cutting out these pieces of paper and sticking them together like manually, and then photographing them. And I also remember you spent the whole night at the hotel, like cutting all the other ones. so that you are ready the day after.
I'm going to bring the sculptures right here. Just a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can't believe she still has that.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was incredible. And yeah, and she spent a lot of time on the stream, just, with her cutter and like cutting these things out and then take a picture and then recreate it in Illustrator. And this is what I really liked about this piece. Ah, there we go. Yes.
I remember that. Still here. Yeah. So little layers cutting one by one to create the poster. Yeah, my first Adobe Live. That was great. That was nice.
Yeah, and Caroline in the chat says, wow, looks very time consuming. yes, it is time consuming.
It was.
But the result is so unexpected, and yeah, no, and it became a great poster, and I think we even used it at Adobe, right, for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, I think so, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, now that was a good hint actually, Rufus, because I do have on this folder some extra kind of crafts and stuff that would be nice to share here. So let me find a project on my portfolio, and then I'm gonna share with you the behind the scenes. So the next one was, oh, can you see anywhere? It's the print magazine, which should be somewhere here. Oh, perhaps a bit more at the bottom. Okay, so yeah, that was been invited from Print Magazine to create one of their covers. So they were doing 15 covers for 15 visual artists. And here is the cover as an outcome in like 2 different variations of colors. And it's been created with this guy here. So it's papercraft, little sculpture. Now it's a bit ruined, but yeah. And photographed and then edited. So it's all kind of like a physical thing. So yeah, that is that one. And there is one more that I could share that I have here.
What tools do you use to do that? Are you using normal cutters or scissors?
Yeah. Here we go.
That's the beauty of Adobe Live from the sofa, right? You have everything around you.
Good. So they're pretty simple. So like just a normal like cutter, like knife for like cutting the general thing. And then this one, which is a bit more detailed for like smaller details. But I guess in this kind of occasion, you don't really need the detailed one. And yeah, so that's all. Nothing extremely like special or simple stuff. Or yeah, for this, for example, artwork, it's been just an acetate with just writing, exploring creativity. And then it was on top of a monitor, so you could see the pixels coming through. So it's just an acetate with some glue. That's all.
How did you get this idea? What inspired you to put that on a monitor?
Oh, that was more like I realized like how like, you know, when you're holding your phone and it rains, which happens quite often here in London, and you get like this little drops and you start to see like the distortions of the pixels with them. So I was like, oh, that's quite interesting, but you can't really draw with water because it doesn't have shape, but you can still use something a bit thicker, such as like glue. So that was like the thinking of getting onto this kind of outcome. So yeah, so I enjoy playing around quite a lot with this kind of physical stuff. Or I do have, maybe I should, that's one of the latest that I've been working on, which is a graphic for Pizza Place in New York. And just give me a second, I'm going to bring that frame there. It's just there.
Everything is around. When we have the normal Adobe Lives, no one brings their suitcase with all of their tools, right?
Okay, so here we go. It's right here.
Cool.
That is like the paper craft itself. And it's with a really, really like bad paper, like the basic one. You can scroll at the bottom and kind of see that. So I didn't plan that will be the final piece or something. I was just playing around. So I just start, creating. And then I realized, oh, it looks actually good. And the picture looks good. And the lighting is good. And I can't really redo the whole thing to look exactly the same. So I decided to just edit this picture. So that was the picture that I edited to get to the other one. So yeah, that was another.
Cathy says mind-blowing. Yep. Hi, William. Afternoon to you. Gavin White. Where did you get that Photoshop cushion? These are very rare. And I don't know where you found it, Tina, but yeah, good for you that you have one.
I think it was from the Adobe live stream, right?
Yes, I think so. But I think there's also a store where people can get that from Adobe. I don't know. Maybe Tim can find the link and post it in the chat. Hello, Munir. Not anymore. Okay, no store anymore. Okay. We have Tim in our ears here, so. That's all right, Tina. Let's get working on your Instagram sticker.
Let's do that. Okay, so.
See how that works. And if you want to know more about Tina, it's tinatouli.com.
Yeah, or you can find on Instagram some extra like projects and stuff that I'm not updated with my portfolio yet, so need to take care of that. Okay, so
Instagram is the new portfolio.
Yeah, kind of it works. It's like, you just post it there, you kind of somehow have it in a way. So yeah, cool. So let's start working. So I decided to do like a sticker, as I said, for like these days, like how do we live and like all this kind of situations going on that felt quite weird. So I started, and one of the stickers that I'm going to show you also how to create till the very end is the stay home. Quite classic. So yeah, I started. Okay, so I'm gonna show you where is the page. So that is usually like how I sketch firstly my idea. So really like rough and quickly, really bad drawings. And then once I get like the selected kind of, it says also selected. So selected ideas out of like the other pages that, I don't know, I was just trying like a few different stuff. Then I'm trying always to sketch firstly what I want to create. So having a really quick original drawing, it's not always on my notebook though. Sometimes I just use the brush tool or the pencil tool in Illustrator and I just sketch it there, So I photographed for you the sketch and already kind of traced it. Trace it. Here we go. And so, the idea behind it is like this little, is it Jack on the, how it's called, the little toy?
The Jack in the box.
Yes, the Jack in the box. And this kind of idea that we are just trying to get out of the house and somebody is pushing us in because we have to stay in. So that was like the kind of thinking behind it. So so here is like the traced one. So it's kind of boring. I can share with you. Perhaps, you know what, I'm gonna delete a part and I'm gonna show like how do I trace usually, because it might be also quite good. Yeah. So
absolutely. And Annika is saying, Tina, that's amazing how your workflow works, like from manually to digital. Really inspires me. And and this is frankly what inspires me every time I look at Tina's work, is like how she invented something. Like your creativity is amazing, and I can never say that enough.
Okay, so usually using quite a lot of the shortcuts, so you will rarely see me going to the toolbar. I'm gonna try though to go so you can see. And this is not really aligned, so I'm lowering down the opacity of my drawing. And on a different layer, I have my illustration. I'm trying to keep naming my files. Sometimes they get really messy when I'm busy, but it's always a good technique to name them and keep order of them as much as possible. One way is either to go with the pen tool, but in this case here, I prefer to go with the brush tool. And the reason why is because I don't want it to be a perfect geometric shape. I want it to be a bit more wobbly. And let me put a color that you can actually also see. Here we go. And then I'm just going and adjusting the shapes. So just little corners. Here we go. Nope, that's a bit too much. So I don't need to perfectly follow my drawing behind, just, to have something to start with. Great. Closing the shape. And little corners as well. So I decided not to add the stairs that I had originally there, since it's an extra detail that I don't really need, and we are designing a sticker. It's small. It doesn't need like extra stuff. You understand already that's a house without it. So I'm just not gonna trace that one. I'm just gonna add my door here and the door handle and the second wall here. Now I'm working with a mouse, but I do usually work in this kind of stuff with a tablet or with a computer that allows you to draw straight on the screen. So depends, because it's always easier. It feels more like how you would draw in the reality. Okay, so I don't need any more of my drawings. I'm going to hide it.
Yeah, and that's also a question that came up in the chat. Are you using a mouse? I can't see. Yes, a mouse. Today is a mouse.
So yeah, no, because I'm traveling quite a lot, I'm kind of used to work either with a mouse, trackpad. I can still, like, now I'm designing with a trackpad. That's the same for me. Feels kind of like, yeah, it's fine. So I'm kind of used to, like, use all kind of techniques to draw. It's fine. It just, some of them are quicker, I would say. So whoop, let's fix it. So yeah, I'm joining the paths now just to make sure that they're all closed so I can nicely color them afterwards. So yeah, this one has way too many anchor points, so I'm gonna get rid of some. Let's go. Nice. And perhaps it's a way to up the door, so I'm just gonna bring it slightly down. Cool. Okay, so coloring time. So I'm gonna start and give a color to each of the shapes. And then we are actually gonna make them look a bit more, like, still a bit more 3D. So we are gonna add light and shadow. So yeah, let's start. I'm gonna make that guy black. And then the house, what should we do? Like orange pink. Let's give it a try. Let's see. Really quickly, just giving some original colors so I can see what's going on here. For now, it doesn't really matter the color, it's just to be able to see. The spring here. That needs to go at the back. And house. Oops. I locked up.
I love what you guys in the chat use as words when you're working. I see a lot of, I hear a lot of whoops, ups, up, like from Tina. And these are the kinds of words that I say as well when I'm creating or doing stuff. Whoops.
Yeah, I think so. Never noticed, but that's a good point, Rufus.
We all have our soundtrack for when we are working, right? Like in our mind, like whoops.
Yeah. Cool.
So Matthew is asking, how did you reduce the amount of anchor points on the doorknob so quickly?
So, okay, so going
with the tool,
to
no?
the hand tool, yes. So P for pen tool, the shortcut. And then if you hover over the anchor point, you get the plus or the remove of the anchor point. So you don't really need to go and like find the tool from here. So I just clicked and I removed the anchor point. I clicked in, on my keyboard the A letter to get the wide arrow, and then moved my handle to adjust it. So yeah, A and P letter is what you actually need when you're working with your pen tool or brush tool. Here something is going a bit weird. Let's move that further down. Okay, so, oh, the door. We forgot the door.
So Oliver says badger. Oops, badger. Sean says mist.
Cool.
Badger.
Okay, so, and that is not visible either. Cool, so
and Matthew says, thank you. Easy, yeah. To remove the points, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saving my file. I'm a bit obsessed, so I'm clicking on saving without noticing it that. So you have to wait for me while I'm saving all the time.
Saving is a good thing.
You have to be patient. Yeah. I'm not controlling that. Okay, so, yeah, now we got, I'm gonna duplicate my layer so we can just see like step by step afterwards, just for review purposes. I wouldn't do that on my workflow. Okay, so I would probably save a new file sometimes, just in case. So let's add some a bit more normal colors, perhaps. So the house. Okay, let's start from the roof, perhaps. I'm gonna add the background color as well. Let's add here a background layer. I get a bit more happy, right?
We have Dorina asking, I missed a little bit. Did you use the brush tool for this fluent shapes? No, she used the pen tool.
Oh no, it was the brush though. She's right.
Was it the brush?
Oh, you were in that tending.
Brush and pen. Yeah, but you use both. You use the brush and the pen.
Okay, fair enough. So I use the brush tool to draw the shapes, and then to edit them, I use the pen tool. So yeah, okay, Steph, you're also right, I guess, in that case, yeah? Okay, so I'm gonna lock my background. Yeah, I want to have like some vivid, happy colors. So yeah, so make it a bit more happy, the whole like look and feel, not too sad or anything. We have enough sad news, I guess, these days, so let's be a bit more positive, right? Or perhaps this needs to be a bit darker. So yeah, house, and then that should be, so here I'm just like counting a bit like which part should be darker and which one lighter. So I'm gonna have light coming from this side here. I'm gonna add my little sun here. So it's somewhere here, my sun. So this side of the house is gonna be brighter, as well as that. Actually, it's gonna be perhaps like there, so because we need a bit darker here. So somewhere like there, imagine the sun. So no, yeah, somewhere there. And yeah, so doors, I'm gonna go with like the complementary, no, the opposite color. So I'm gonna go with a bit more orangey. So we have nice and bright door. I think I locked the window, yes. Cool, adding my window. And perhaps also the spring could go with that. And yeah, let's grab some basic kind of colors also for the top. Yeah, now it starts feeling a bit more 3D.
Do you just create them on the go, or do you use color palettes?
No, I usually like start like this, and I'm gonna show you what I'm doing later with the colors. So for me, it doesn't really matter the starting colors, it's just like the contrast between them. I'm actually gonna show you. So I'm just gonna fix the lips a bit because I don't like this pink. It's too much pink. And then I'm gonna show you like why I don't really care at this point about colors. And this should be darker because there is the inside of the mouth, so really, really dark, somewhere there. And that is gonna be a bit darker. That's a bit too dark. And the eye should be...
Welcome, Jack. Jack says, oh no, I almost missed this morning. Well, from noon to 1 every day here on Adobe live from the sofa with Stephanie, myself, and today we have Tina Touli, who's working on an Instagram sticker.
Cool. So now that I've got the colors, I'm gonna duplicate to show you like how I usually work. So it has enough contrast now. So what I usually do is adding all the colors through like the new color group on my swatches. So here we go. And now I'm going to the color guide. So if you don't have this window there, you go here, color guide. And then clicking on this little icon here, this little wheel. And you can see the current colors and the new ones that you can replace them with. So one way is like just to click on other swatches that you have saved, which I don't have on this file. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the edit, and now I can just move one of them and all of them will move around. So I don't really need to worry about colors because anytime I can just, grab any that I don't like and move it around and change it. So as far as my contrast is right, everything is fine. Yep. So nice and easy.
Cool.
I love this recolor artwork feature.
Yes, it's really, really good. So nice. Makes your life way easier. So yeah, else you have to decide now the colors before adding any shades and stuff like that. So that makes it way easier. Okay, so as I said, I don't want it to look as a flat illustration, so I want it to feel a bit more like 3D kind of feeling. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the details and add them on a new layer, so I don't need to lock and unlock them all the time. Okay, got all of them, and here we go. details. Cool. And I'm gonna get rid of them. Perhaps also all the spraying is in between. Okay. And I'm gonna start with that. So I want to feel a bit more like 3D kind of show, light and shadow. So the best tool is to use the mesh tool, which is right here, or a shortcut, letter U. And I'm gonna try, like the most important thing is usually to keep your grid as tidy as you can, because if you get it like complex, then you won't be able to really control it. And then I'm gonna start and make like some of the points a bit lighter. So let's go like somewhere there and add a bit of lighting. So I'm using a letter to select my white arrow, and then the eyedropper using the I letter. So what I'm doing is clicking and selecting one of the anchor points, and then clicking to select the color that I want to apply. So and just playing around as you would draw like in the physical kind of world, like trying to find where the light and shadow is. And I want to add a bit of like thickness in this wall here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another like row here of anchor points, which is gonna be dark as well. That already feels like it has a bit of thickness there, yeah? So and a bit lighter perhaps here.
Yeah, and Akinola says, good understanding of color makes your creative nice. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, you need some sort of understanding of color and, shade and light and things like that. And Danielle is saying, do you ever use Photoshop to draw, or do you do most of your drawings in Illustrator?
Yeah, like the one that I shared earlier, that was the T letter for 36 days of type. It was all in Photoshop. So like I didn't need Adobe Illustrator. So it really depends on the style that you want to achieve. I love an Illustrator that you can always scale your stuff. So it's usually my kind of preference. So, or sometimes like, I can't really talk about, okay, so it's going to be a project released, I think on the 7th of April or something that I'm working on. So come back and check my website or my Instagram and you'll see that. And that project was actually created all in Photoshop, but I afterwards traced it all in Illustrator. So it feels like really like, it feels more like Photoshop created, like it has quite a lot of shadows, lights, and complicated patterns, but it's actually vector, the whole thing. So sorry, I can't share it yet. I wish I could. But yeah, it follows the same kind of technique like this one here. So I'm carrying on like doing the same kind of thing on the other side. So adding a bit of light and shadow. That's perhaps too light.
It's like light sculpting. And for those of you in the chat, we're over 200 now on this live stream. And the cool thing about these live streams, of course, is that you can ask questions to Tina live, and she will be able to answer them. That's so much better than watching a replay. Of course, the replays will be available here on Behance. You can find them if you scroll down in the window, and also on the Adobe UK YouTube channel. Of course, they're going to be available there. And what did I want to say? Yes, so I was wondering, because yesterday we sent out a whole bunch of emails to people, and I'm super happy to see that over 200 of you have joined again today. How did you remember to join? Except for the 2 here that came in late, that didn't remember, like Kirsty and Jack, but thank God you're here now. So that's good. Did you create yourself a little calendar alert or something? Adobe Live from the sofa with UK artists at noon to 1. How do you remember? Because I don't think we sent out anything today.
We have a question from Oliver. Do you ever use the perspective tool?
Not really, to be honest. I prefer to, like, if I need to, I usually create my own grid, and then so I don't really use the perspective grid, no. I tried it, but yeah. I feel also like I usually find it's more to help you find the right perspective. So I usually like sketch everything before, so I already know my perspective, so it doesn't really assist me or something that much. But yeah, it depends on the workflow, I would say. Like, whatever you prefer, kind of.
Oh, this is so nice. People are setting reminders. This is great, because we're going to be here every day of this week and the coming weeks, you know, until we're, you know, I'm streaming from Florence in Italy, Stephanie's in London, Tina's in London, Tim, our person in the background, whom you're not seeing right now, is actually taking care of all the technical part of the stream and putting everything together so that it flows nicely here on Behance. And he is in Germany. I don't know exactly where. It's a secret, but he's laughing. He's laughing in my ear. I can hear him. He's breathing down my neck. Yeah.
Rufus.
So what? Yes.
I'm not laughing at you.
Tim? Okay. What are you doing? You're walking. You're walking my way to give me a kick, right? Okay.
Ingrid is saying she spotted it on YouTube. And yes, we are streaming every day.
Every day from noon to 1 UK time. And we started this week. This is actually our second stream this week with this new format with UK artists. Yes.
Thank you, Rufus, for that.
Nice.
Yes, yeah, you love that, Stephanie.
Yes. I've only been to Adobe Lives at events and stuff, but we have never had Adobe Live in the UK. So I'm really happy that Rufus brought it across the channel.
Virtually, at least.
Yeah.
Oh, and Sean said, we hear Tim. Oh, so Tim is being heard. Okay. Did you know that, Tim? Did you know that, Tim? Okay.
Yes, I'm continuing working like the same kind of way with my grid and adding a bit of light and shadow on the face here. On the head, actually, it's not the face yet. But...
Dorina is asking, do you use the mesh tool for the characters' faces?
Yes, I'm right there. So I'm not really sure about the shadows there, so I'm gonna do a bit more in the middle, perhaps.
Yep. So a good exercise to start working with the mesh tool is like to do a circle and start shading it in with the mesh tool, so you get an understanding of, you know, how you can create light and shadow, and then go on from there. The mesh tool is one of those incredibly powerful tools to give shape. And there is this Yukio. I need to find. You need to see that work. Yukio. Miyamoto, yeah. And let me just share a link with some of his illustrations here. He does everything with the mesh tool, and it is just incredible. Yukio Miyamoto. There we go.
Does everyone know in the chat how to use the mesh tool, or should I do a quick tutorial on the side here?
No. I think no. You go on working on your. You know, there's many. I mean, we see now how you add the grid lines, and you can actually add light to certain points and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing. And like I said, the best way to approach the mesh tool is to make a circle and start adding meshes and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, it's similar to this kind of face here that is like kind of circular here. That was already a bit more like 3D-ish. Already feels better, like before and after. Okay, we don't have a face. So yeah, before and after. So already feels better now, right? Okay, so I'm gonna quickly let me go actually to the details first. And add here a bit of a grid.
And I've had the fortune to actually meet Yukio Miyamoto one of the times I was in Tokyo a few years back. And
Nice.
Yeah. And thankfully I had Shiori with me because Yukio doesn't speak English very well, or, claims not to speak English very well. But it was very nice to have somebody who could translate for me. Incredible person.
Or you don't speak Japanese very well.
That's a good point of view too.
It's all about perspectives.
How is it possible to be in this live session? Michael, why don't you send me an email? And I'm going to say the email. It's rufus@adobe.com. And let's see. What are you bringing to the table, Michael? And Ingrid is asking.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, Ingrid is asking you, can you recommend a good drawing tablet for an amateur to start with? I'm a video editor predominantly, so it's not likely I will become an illustrator, but it looks like fun. Yeah. So what do you have, Tina? Like the little, what is it? Just a little one, yeah. Little bamboo.
Little bamboo.
Yeah.
So that is what I started with. So that works. Like any kind of vacuum, like even like the simplest, the bamboo one, perfectly works to get started with. And see like how much you use it, if it fits on your workflow and everything, and then you can consider getting something a bit more professional or different. So yeah, any kind of vacuum perfectly works.
So
you're still working with the mouse, or sorry.
Yeah.
Are you still working with the mouse, even though you have your vacuum next to you?
That's true. That's true. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes just being kind of lazy to connect it, and it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna do that this way. I started this way. It's okay. Even for this kind of occasion here, I think it doesn't make a huge difference because you just select some points. If I would be drawing like I was doing in the beginning, I think it would make a big difference. Okay, so the eye starts getting there, a bit more like having a bit of extra volume. Cool.
That's a good point, Jack. It would be nice to have maybe a daily creative challenge with the mesh tool. Maybe that's something Tim can give back to our team in the US.
Yay.
Yeah, I think it's one of those tools that is incredibly powerful, but yet so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland is asking the same. He's asking, can you cover the mesh tool in a different live stream?
We'll try to cover as many topics as we can during these daily live streams. But yeah, maybe Tina can do something special just about the mesh tool. Who knows?
Yes, that would be lovely. And yeah, I would love to share with you the other kind of thing that I'm working on that is like really, really mesh tool quite a lot. So but it's the one, it's confidential yet. Yeah. Okay, so I'm doing a bit of the door as well to feel a bit more like 3D as well, so not that flat as it was before. Oh, here, I don't know. I didn't notice that it's too squarish. A bit more round. Cool. Oh, and I'm actually going to share something that I've been struggling a lot till I figure out how it works. So we have this shape, for example, that we created, and we added all this kind of mesh in it. And like, let's say that we actually want it flat again to use it as a mask or something. So if you go and delete them, you're still kind of able to edit it, but it's still not a normal shape. So the way to get it normal again is to go to Object, Path, and Offset Path, and then put 0 here, and then you get on top of it, I got a new shape. So if you want to go backwards, that's the easiest, quickest way to do so, because it took me a while to figure out like how to do that. So good to share so nobody else struggles with that. Okay, so and here is like huge the gap, so I'm just gonna move my points up.
There you go, Dorina. This just gave her an idea about the Illustrator Challenge cover. Very good. And Sally says, very useful. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, it's a great tool. Okay, my door feels a bit wobbly, weird, so it doesn't follow the perspective really well. It's okay. It's better perhaps a bit down this side. Cool.
Do you always start offline first, that you do sketches or you cut things? Or do you ever start digital?
Oh, no, I do start digital. So whenever I use like my computer tablet, I sketch there straight away on the screen. So that doesn't need like having a notebook or something. But I usually like, I do use my notebook for sure to write down like the ideas. That's for sure. Like I'm doing like really, really quick rough sketches as the one that I showed you before, to like just visualize quickly what I'm about to do, which I find way quicker than in the computer somehow. I don't know. Because it also might be sometimes that it's going to be on the bus or somewhere, so it might not even be when I'm home. So I'm going to make this a bit darker. Okay, so because the window here is like too thin and the mesh tool won't really work, as you can see, it's also like the way that it's cutted. So I'm just gonna go and add on the effects an inner glow. And I'm gonna add like a bit of like orangey tone, like this one, preview on, and yeah, offset. Oh, did I add? Oh, I added an outer one. Okay, I meant to add an inner glow. So here we go. And a bit of orange, preview on, and should be somewhere here. Yeah, it's screen mode. Multiply, yes, a bit more blurry. 2.5. So that's gonna add the shadow that I need in the window. Yeah. So we don't need to add too much detail. So that was before and after. So it does make a difference. Okay, what else we have? Let's do a bit of, oh, we are actually running out of time a bit. So yeah, I'm gonna jump. I do have like the file that I finished, that one. So I want to show you the next step. So I'm gonna jump to that so you got a really good idea of how this worked. And you can see like, so that's how it was flat, and adding a bit of shadows, how it makes it feel a bit more like 3D and a bit more interesting and engaging, I'd say. So I'm saving my file. I'm gonna jump back on my folder, and I'm gonna go.
There's just a couple of things here. Oh, Caroline is asking, where do you go for inspiration when you're in a creative funk? Thanks for doing these lives. Great to have on when I'm working. That's exactly why we're here, Caroline. But so where do you go when you have just?
Oh, for me, it's like inspiration is anywhere anyways. It's not really that I need to be on the outside world to have some inspiration. So if we go back here, for example, what about water? So this project was like on the live stream that we did like a few years ago, and it was just mixing oil and water. So that can be just your inspiration while you're cooking, and you're like, oh, that's quite interesting. Let's try to do that. Or the little ribbon that I shared earlier here. So that illustration was just like made from the ribbon. So just a little ribbon. So it's something that you have home. So perhaps like try and grab objects that you have around you and see how you could creatively use them, what you could actually do with them. So you don't necessarily need to be outside in order to manage to do something. So there are so many things that you can play around with at home. So yeah. Or like this one, for example, another one, like some glasses. That's like objects that you for sure have at home, and you could play around and create something like that. So yeah, inspiration can be indoors as well. It doesn't make any difference to me, to be honest. So yeah, it's just like a different perspective. Or if you're still going for your run, then you can perhaps also like see stuff also outside that can be inspiring. Okay, so I'm jumped into this file here. Wait, Rufus camera is just in the middle of the layers here. Okay, so here you can see like the kind of final illustration, like with all the shadows and everything. So all created with a mesh tool. Let me unlock it so you can see. So here you can see the grids and how everything works. And the spring, that can be tricky. I'm just gonna ungroup it so I can show you like the different layers behind it. So it's one layer with the mesh, which is that one. You can see here, which can be tricky. You see the geometry starts getting a bit weird. So that was the reason also that I didn't do the whole spring as one shape. And then I duplicated and I added this one on top that it has noise. Which one? Oh, it's just a duplicated shape. So that is just wrong. And then we have an extra shape on top that has a bit of opacity. Oh, it had before I ungrouped them. Okay. So yeah, that it has a bit of opacity. Here we go. And it makes it a bit more orange since I decided to change the color. So that's how the spring is made. I'm gonna check also the mouth. The mouth is two shapes. So you can see here, the one behind, and then on top, the bottom part matching where it touches the lips, and the top a bit more like dark. And is there another shape? I think the others are quite straightforward. Yeah. So you can see the eyeball here separately and the eye. So yeah. And yeah, so the other step then I decided to animate them. And I decided to do that the hard way, which is stop motion, one by one, the frames. Some of them can also be in After Effects. I did few parts, but the main part was here. So starting from that kind of frame I had, I started moving forward. Let me find the top one. Okay, here we go. I start moving and start closing him. So I have all the information I need now, so I'm gonna start hiding parts. So just selecting parts and moving them down. We are starting getting down. Ignore the eyes and everything for now. You just see that I moved the shape slightly. And the way that I did that was just like taking the body and all the top, moving a bit down and squeezing a bit the spring. Yeah? So that was the way to do that, to move him down, frame by frame. And moving farther down and so on. So the same kind of way. And yeah, here we start having kind of an issue because he doesn't fit inside. He ate a bit too much. So he didn't do his exercise. So yeah. And yeah, squeezing him in. And while squeezing him, I just squeezed the shape. It was as simple as that. So instead of being there, I just squeezed it, because that feels like he's all squeezed. Yeah, getting in. And important details. So on the window, I added like the rest of his body, so you can still see that he's getting squeezed in. Yeah, and then going down. So it was just deforming the shapes. So going here and deforming it even farther and going even farther down to get like the next one. So removing the lips in this case, and yeah, here we go. It was the next frame. Yeah. Okay, let me go backwards because we are gonna ruin it. Here. Okay. And more in, and you see that the house. I'm gonna show you the secret behind it. So this little top, the reality is that it didn't fit when I arrived to that point. So if I'm gonna remove that, it had a bit of a wrong perspective because I didn't use the perspective grid tool. So you can see that it's pretty wrong, yeah? So that is the issue if you don't use the perspective tool. So that wasn't working well. So the way that I did that was cheating slightly, like every time amending it a bit, every click that you're doing while you're changing frame. So it feels like it perfectly sits, even if it doesn't in the reality, yeah? So here we go, he's coming out. He's still happy, yeah? And yeah, little details as well. So animating a bit the door, like opening and closing. So just to make it a bit more engaging, it's just, yeah, just details, or the eye like closing. So And then he suddenly realizes that he shouldn't be out. Yeah, let me move this. And it's time to get in, a bit frightened again. Yeah, and stay home. That's good. Okay, so that's been like layer by layer how this been created. It takes a while, but yeah, some nice music, and here we go. And then I jumped to After Effects to do the final step. So I found it easier. In the beginning, I was thinking, okay, I could animate it quickly in Photoshop because it's frame by frame. But as you will see also in the collection of the stickers that I'm going to share with you in a second, it was easier for me to just jump in After Effects. So just give it a second, and it's going to.
Yeah, After Effects is one of those beasts as well, where a lot of graphic designers would actually start doing stuff with After Effects, and it's so overwhelming at the beginning. But then you always have to think about it. It's just as overwhelming as the first time you opened Photoshop, and we all became good at Photoshop at some point. So I think the important thing with After Effects is to give yourself a project. And now, what better time to give yourself a project? Even if it's a bouncing ball or things like that, or follow the tutorials, but like have something in mind that you want to do. Don't open After Effects and be overwhelmed. Like, I want to animate this, and then you work towards that goal. I think that's the best way to approach After Effects.
Yeah, you could try perhaps like starting with some stickers, some fun stickers, as I'm going to show you also in a bit. You can carry on working on this collection. So yeah, After Effects is coming. Here we go. So yeah, let's have a look at the file and how the whole thing works. So I brought in the Illustrator file, and I put them, as you can see, in a little sequence of layers here. So you can still see here the staircase, kind of. So that allowed me to kind of control the time that I want to stay a bit longer on the house before moving to the motion of coming out, and then staying a bit on the frightened phase before like reaching back and closing the house. So having the little loop. And yeah, so let me make some space so you can actually see the whole thing. Okay, so yeah, here you can see the animated once it's gonna render. So it's just frame by frame, all placed together as a sequence, and allowing me to control a bit better the time through After Effects. So this is a really simple one in After Effects, and that's a really good starting point to start with, to just do a frame by frame one, so you get a bit familiar with what's going on and how the timeline works in After Effects. So yeah, and he jumps out, and then, so stay home, guys. It's important.
I love how the eye looks a little bit more scared at the end, and then he goes back in.
Oh yeah, it's kind of we shouldn't be here. Okay, so whoa. Okay.
Oh, the mouse changes shape.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. He's also getting quite sad. He's getting quite scary. So it's the little details that we talked about. So yeah, so he's getting home, and then yeah, we have also the one with typography. So I just brought in the typography. Which is just created with a brush tool, so just drawing straight in Illustrator in this case. So just to say also what it is about. And yeah, the little wave in the typography, let me zoom in to go through that one too. The little wavy kind of situation here is only affects the wave drop, and in a really subtle motion, so it just gives it a bit of like, makes it a bit more interesting, let's say, yeah? So yeah, let me know in the chat if you have any questions for how is this sticker being created step by step. And should I reveal the whole collection now?
Yeah, Robert says, Tina is so good, wow. And Jack Watson, this animation is so cute. Yeah.
So and Isha is asking how many frames did it end up having?
That's a good question, which I'm not really sure because, yeah, let me check on the export perhaps. And it's, let me see.
So in the end, it's a GIF?
Yes. So it's 90 frames, the final one. But yeah, the frames that I actually had to design are way less, as we saw in Illustrator. They were around 20 or 30, something like that. So, we can actually see still here. So yeah, they were like 30 perhaps, yeah, because they are named a bit weird. So around 30 that I designed, and then some of them are static, so the total makes a 90 frames. Okay, so the whole collection is here. So you know that minute that is so stressful lately, yeah? That kind of that you're running out of this guy and you're like, whoa. So don't panic. That's important. And yeah, stay home. Stay home. It's quite nice. It's you can still be creative. You can still do things and try to be positive. Try to keep, like, I'm trying to keep always a routine. So work like the hours that I used to work, and then having in the evening a kind of activity there, like watch a movie or exercise, or like just having a plan, having something to look forward to, or arrange a call with my friends. So kind of like, it's not that bad staying home. Home is nice. And yeah, no excuse, do not exercise, guys. Yeah, that's important. You hear, Rufus? That's for you.
Yeah. For me. Wow.
yeah, that's for you. So no excuse. Another one. So wash your hands and don't touch your face, guys. Yeah, you know that. For some people, for some cats, it's quite tricky, but yeah, important. So wash your hands and don't touch your face. And yeah, when you're feeling rich, that's another one in the situation. That's good. Hope you managed to get some, because I came last minute. I almost managed to not come back in London, so I wasn't that rich. I didn't manage to be rich. And yeah, the precious pasta, and especially for people like me that they just eat pasta and pizza in their lives, that's so tricky nowadays, you know, that pasta are sold out suddenly, that nobody was touching them before. So it can be tricky, you know, finding pasta. And yeah, keep some distance. Love you to time, so stay a bit farther. That's good. It's just for a bit. It's gonna be okay. So yeah, that's the full collection. It's already on Giphy, but it's not yet on Instagram. It's gonna be soon there, so feel free to grab them and use them. So just to like inject a bit of like more positive, fun energy in this kind of situation, which I feel like I'm scrolling, I'm just seeing bad news and bad news. So I just wanted to add a bit of like a bit more positive vibe in the whole situation and that.
There's a lot of nice feedback from the chat. The cat, the nice, love it. The don't panic piece is awesome and so relatable. Yeah. Tina, wow. You wanna say something, Stephanie, to close the show? And and we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm super happy that I got to see Tina again. And no, honestly, great examples. And I know how passionate you are about Illustrator. I know you were, whilst I was teaching everyone XD, you were standing there all day long in Illustrator and moving your anchor points of your font back and forth. And so it's great to see what you're capable of doing, and also seeing the end results. So thank you very, very much for joining us. And also, thank you all guys out there for joining our Adobe Live in the UK from the sofa. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks again for Rufus for bringing it to the UK. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And yeah, if anyone in the chat still has questions, and yeah, feel free to reach me out like on Instagram or social media. And I'm always happy to chat and help if there's anything I can help with. Creating quick tutorials, even if you're tuning in the Adobe Live, I'm sure you'll find more and more like kind of tutorials and tips from creatives. So that's great. And yeah, so thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Stephanie. And be back tomorrow at noon UK time for another stream from the sofa tomorrow with Craig Black.
Nice.
So see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.